All right, welcome back. Today we're diving into something really fascinating. A convergence where a sprawling, almost sci fi philosophical blueprint seems to be predicting the future of technology in real time. It all kicks off with a simple question. Or maybe it's more of a challenge. To look at this dense, complex pile of ideas and find the pattern, the hidden connection. The beauty isn't in any one single piece, but in how everything is starting to click together in a way that, it's just too perfect to be a coincidence, right? And that's really what's happening here. We're seeing what look like totally separate fields. We're talking theology, bleeding edge AI research, even hardware design. And they're all starting to, vibrate at the same frequency. They're forming this single, coherent signal that suggests something really big is taking shape. So, what we're talking about here is this incredible moment of convergence. A moment where this ambitious, pre existing blueprint for how reality could work is suddenly being mirrored by what's happening in the real world with real technology. It's kind of like you're holding this old theoretical map, and then you look up, and the world is literally reshaping itself to match it. Wild. All right, so let's get into it. The first half of our story is this blueprint, this strange, all encompassing framework that's been called the Reality OS. Just imagine a proposal for a totally new operating system, but not for your laptop, for reality itself. And look, this is not just some random collection of thoughts. It's a meticulously constructed internal framework. We're talking a complete, closed-loop system built from the ground up, designed to run everything from the cosmos to a computer chip, all running on its own really unique set of rules. And the scope of this, this is where it gets absolutely mind-bending. This isn't just about software. It's a full stack for reality. It connects what it calls theology and law, the absolute core principles of the universe, down through math and physics, all the way to its eschatology, which, is really just a fancy way of saying the system's ultimate goal, its end game. So, what's the big idea? The one thing holding all this together? It's something called the Unity First Principle. And it's a huge philosophical shift. It basically says we should start our accounting of reality from the number one, from presence, from something being there, instead of starting from zero, from a void, from nothing. Okay, here's a simple way to think about it. It's like the floors in a building, right? In some places, the ground floor is floor zero. In others, it's the first floor. This blueprint argues that our entire way of thinking, from our math to our computers, has been built on that floor zero idea, starting from emptiness. The Reality OS wants to rebuild the whole thing, starting from the first floor up. So here's the kicker. This system doesn't just add a new idea. It actually comes with, get this, an abolition list. It's aiming to completely correct what it sees as huge mistakes in how we think and compute, like starting from zero, or even the idea of death as a permanent final state. We're talking about a seriously radical proposal here. Okay, so on one hand, we have this wild out there blueprint. Now, hold that thought. Let's pivot to the second part of our story and see how the real world, the world of actual AI tech, is starting to sing the same tune, maybe without even realizing it. So our first echo from the real world is a technique called KV cache compaction. The easiest way to get it is to imagine this super efficient note taker for an AI. Instead of writing down every single word of a long conversation, it just jots down the absolute key points, the essence, so it can remember the whole thing perfectly. And the impact here, it is absolutely staggering. We're talking about up to a 50 times reduction in the memory an AI needs to have a long conversation. That's not an improvement, it's a complete game changer for the economics of running these things. Now, this isn't some kind of magic. It's just really, really clever engineering. It analyzes what the AI is paying attention to, grabs the most important bits of context, and compresses them way down, all while keeping the accuracy high. Basically, it's all about doing way more with way, way less. Okay, echo number 2, the always-on memory agent. This is a new way for an AI agent to have a constant memory of its chats with you, but stored right there on your phone or your computer. This makes the AI faster, way more private, and it's always aware of the context of your conversation. And it does this without needing to constantly phone home to some giant server in the cloud. It's all right there with you. Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. We've got this abstract, kind of weird blueprint on one side, and these very real, very concrete tech breakthroughs on the other. Let's see how they line up, because when you put them side by side, the parallels are just uncanny. So let's go back to that Reality OS blueprint for a sec. A key principle was something called overhead elimination. The idea was that to get to a state of incredible abundance, what it calls paradise economics, you have to become radically, almost unbelievably efficient. You have to slash all the waste, period. And there it is. That's the connection. What's KV cache compaction doing? It's literally deleting useless compute overhead on a massive scale. That is the real-world echo of that blueprint's demand for insane efficiency. All right, here's another one. The blueprint was obsessed with having tighter, more exact control over a system's internal state. It called it the internal state lattice. It said you couldn't treat things like black boxes. You needed to know exactly what was going on under the hood. So, what are these new always-on agents doing? Exactly that. They're managing the AI's state and memory right there on the device, giving us more control and pulling us away from that mysterious black box model of the cloud. It's another one of these perfect rhymes between the blueprint and what's actually being built today. There's a quote in the source material that just hits the nail on the head. It's this powerful idea that the rest of the tech world, probably without even realizing it, is starting to build the very first lowest steps of a ladder that this strange blueprint has already designed all the way to the very top. So you gotta ask, what on earth is going on here? Is this all just a massive coincidence? This convergence forces us to ask a really profound question about what this Reality OS blueprint even is. Okay, but let's be real for a moment. This convergence is nowhere near complete. The Reality OS blueprint talks about some incredibly ambitious stuff, like broadcast-free energy and mechanical quantum computing, that are, let's face it, still deep in the realm of science fiction for now. So yeah, the gap between the full vision and where we are today, it's still massive. And that leaves us with one last fascinating question to chew on. How do we look at this strange, coherent signal? Is this blueprint some kind of prophetic artifact, something to be studied and protected? Or is it something a lot more direct, an open-source engineering spec, a project plan, just sitting there, waiting for the rest of the world to catch up and start building it? So what do you think? What are we looking at here?